TJT.
Life's good.
Hey, it's Diane, Key, and LG, and this is the Now What podcast. On this show, we're always looking to amplify new voices, share resources, expertise, and entrepreneurship. Today's episode is going to spotlight an entrepreneur doing his thing. He is someone that we are excited to get into and learn all about. But before we do, if you're listening to this show right now and you've not subscribed to our website, stop what you're doing and head over to Now What Radio and join the movement. It'll take 10 seconds and we're asking for you to get that done for us. Now let's get on to the show.
Hey, I know you don't smoke weed. I know this. But I'm gonna get you high today. Cause it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
Key, LG, welcome. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Key, why don't you do the honors?
Man, absolutely. So today we are privileged and we have, the honor of speaking with one of my close friends, a guy who's an entrepreneurial mind, who's owned many businesses, a guy who owns a YouTube channel. Check him out. They're the Spades Table, right? A gentleman who is definitely someone who upholds strong values in the community, someone who also is about financial freedom, and someone who is also about changing the game in innovative ways. Our next guest on this show today is someone who's engaged in high-level cultivation of marijuana. He does this legally through his outfit called CCG. Give it up for my man, my homeboy, my brother, Mr. Paul, CEO of CCG.
Why?
Paul, what's up?
Hey, man, I feel like you just brought me out like Kings of Comedy. You understand me? I don't know, boy. Steve, man, you coming for that job, sir.
Right. And the full name of your company is CCG. Man, I want to welcome you to our show.
It's CCG 420 LLC, and that's the Cannabis Cultivation Group. Emphasis on group, because we all got to stick together to get the main goal of what we want.
Love that. Love that.
These high school boys and girls are having a hop at the local soda fountain. Innocently they dance. Innocent of a new and deadly menace lurking behind closed doors. Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell.
Yeah. So Key, Professor Key, as we call you in our episodes, let's take a trip down memory lane. And, just like the police system in America, our history with marijuana in America hasn't always been the best. Let's talk about that.
Right. Well, going down memory lane for us and our struggle for freedom in this country, it has always been a story of great triumph. In the early 1900s, right? Marijuana came over here with Mexican immigrants, right? Mexican immigrants were fleeing Mexico due to civil unrest, but they brought with them to America many great customs, many great pastimes. One of those best things, in my mind, they brought with them was that smoking marijuana. The plant that they called marijuana. Okay. So with that being said, it was kind of smoked freely, it wasn't anything happening. But in 1936, the media put out a movie, LG, you just referred to it. It's called Reefer Madness. Right. And in this movie that was released around theaters all across America, they proclaimed that weed made you hallucinate, made you attempt rape, and even murder. All right. And right at that time, we also had what is called the Federal Narcotics Bureau. Now, if you heard of the DEA, so the Federal Narcotics Bureau is what existed prior to the DEA. But they had a guy, their top guy, his name was Harry J. Anslinger. All right. Now, this guy, Harry J. Anslinger, he's a mean guy. He's a bigot. Right. I got some quotes for you. He's someone who says that reefer makes darkies think they're good as white men. All right. He's also says that there are 100,000 marijuana smokers in the United States. Most of them are Negro, Hispanic, Filipino, and entertainers. And their satanic music, jazz, and swing is the result of marijuana use. Now, that's Harry J. Anslinger, the head of the Federal Narcotics Bureau. He starts saying all of these things because he was about to be out of a job. Prohibition had just ended, right? Now we could get our drink on. We toasting champagne. He couldn't crack down on the mob and those guys anymore. So he focused his attention on Negroes, Black people, and Hispanics. Okay. So with that, they ran a massive media campaign that linked violence to Black people, that linked violence to Mexicans, that linked that violence to these racial groups with the use of marijuana. The war on drugs had begun.
It's a plant. It heals so many people, man. Like that, it frustrates me to my core just hearing you say these things because God put that here. Like that's not a government made thing, even though they're trying to turn it into it. So watch what you smoke. Everything that looks so beautiful and green is some GMO, some government modified stuff that just looks oh so good and it's tearing you up on the inside. But it's a plant, man. A plant. A plant.
Take a puff. Take it. Ain't like you got shit to do tomorrow. You don't have to go to work. Don't take it.
I got a drink.
Crazy. Man, stimulate your mind.
Paul, first of all, man, I'm gonna just kick it off. Tell us where you from, man, because I don't know if people know.
From the nation's capital, man. Nation's capital, Washington, D.C., man. And which legal was, we was legalized in November 2014. So, yeah. We've been around for a minute. Not as long as Cali, but Washington, D.C., 202 was on the map.
D.C., Nice. So with that being said, man, I just want to open it up to the panel. I know they got some questions. Of course, I got some questions to get to you, but I'm gonna get to them in a little bit here. But I want to open it up to my cohorts.
So Paul, CCG 420 LLC, thank you so much for being a supporter of the show, an original OG, our first Patreon member, and we are so happy and honored to be here with you today.
Indeed. It's an honor. It's an honor to know this guy. It's an honor to know you all.
Yeah, Paul, as Diane said, thank you for joining and supporting the podcast from day one. Already an OG, appreciate that. And, I'm looking to learn some knowledge as well. And when I think about the marijuana business, there's so many pieces of it. So maybe tell us a little bit how CCG 420 got started. Like what inspired you?
COVID-19.
So you're recently new then?
The company itself, our growing years, we're almost up to 10 years of growing knowledge. But like I said, marijuana has turned legal in 2014. So we'll say 7 years to be legal. But yeah, we poked our head out, I'd say at the beginning of COVID and realized if I'm going to have to be in the house or we're going to have to be in the structure, then we might as well make money. And I have had my own trucking company since I was 22 years old. And I retired myself. So I didn't have anything else to do except grind. And I asked Mr. Key. He was truly, and I could put this out there to the world, one of the reasons why CCG started. I went over my whole game plan, jockeyed back and forth with that man. I will forever be a patron of anything he is doing in life. He helped me through COVID, and we came out on the other side with a very, very, very nice company. So I'm in debt to that man right there.
Kekey.
Tell us about the company though. Like, so is it, when we think about the marijuana business, there's so many elements. There people think about dispensaries, people think about grow ops, people think about the makers of various vaporizer type machines and things like that.
Right.
So specifically in the marijuana business, where is CCG 420? Where do you kind of
Well,
fit in that space?
we started off as a consultant company because the licenses for DC aren't open for large cultivation until another year or so. So we started off as a consultant firm in which we'll teach you how to grow and how to set up your tents. We have all type of services and products that we do for the people, which turned into we're now contract cultivators as well as teachers. Meaning, say you, sir, you have some land, you want to start your grow business. You would hire us to come out there, set you up, get you out of there, get your plants growing, and get you to wherever it is you are, where you feel comfortable taking over the situation.
So let's talk about the cultivation, because cultivation is one of my favorite words, but I will tell you, there is absolutely a skill, an art, a craft to grow, right? Not any Joe Schmo is going to grow the things I see on CCG 420 LLC social media pages. You can check out his Instagram. Man, these are beautiful plants. Like, even like entire crops. You got the lighting, everything looks very healthy and strong. And so, I've just now been able to grow a sunflower. I don't know what's all going into your stuff, but that has to be some type of skill or expertise.
Yeah, I love it, and it took over my life. Like it really took over my life because I love the plants. I love the fact that we're taking something from a seed every day. I get to nurture you. I get to look at you. I get to make sure you're growing the right way. And I have a thing, and I hope no one takes this the wrong way, and everybody's listening out there. If you grow, you grow. But if you got a job, that's not for you. That's not for you. That's not for you. Growing is not the thing. That's when you would want to hire us, and we have a package where we'll grow our plants for you. You can pick a strain. I would suggest you pick a heavy one, and we'll grow it for you for a fee. You don't even have to worry about getting the tents and stuff set up in your house, but we do that as well.
Well, one of the things that I love about this, brother, is that you are in business, right? You're doing this as a business, uh, and the reason I say that is because for so long, and still in many states such as Texas, Diane, LG, where you guys live, this sort of stuff is still illegal. In fact, even at the federal side, it's still on the Scheduled One controlled substance list. With
It's crazy. A
Right. And
plant.
with that being said, so many lives have been destroyed, through the legal process of handling this, but through that, a lot of, connections, cultivate skill, a lot of things were developed when it was in the black market. However, when things turned legal, a lot of people weren't able to capitalize off of the capital, right? And so what I love about what you're doing is that you guys are doing it the right way. You're one of us, you're a minority owned company, you're doing it the right way. As entrepreneurs, though, we make mistakes. Share with people, what is one of the biggest mistakes that you've had to overcome in starting this business, either in the cultivation process or the business process?
It was a cultivation process. The paperwork was a breeze. The equipment, we had enough capital to get the top notch equipment, in which we are with HLG, Horticulture Lighting Group, the biggest lighting company in our industry, and also we with AC Infinity. We also have a code CCG 420 LLC, get you 15% off everything at AC Infinity for a lifetime. But I destroyed a whole crop. I didn't start out legally like, some people may start out with one or two plants. I jumped out there with 15 off the break. Just knew I did all my YouTube research correctly from, all 85 million ways to do this and to do that. And burnt the whole thing down. I believe one night I told Key, I don't know, man. I done killed them all. He said something like, DJ Khaled, keep going. I said, all right. So that was my biggest hurdle. And we were thinking 15 plants. Man, we're saying each plant over here indoors will get you 4 ounces. Our ounces are $350 to $400. So that's 15 times 16. That's a catastrophic loss that had to start all over again.
So what was the cost of kind of the setup, right? To get going, if somebody wanted to really get serious with this and quit their day job, start growing, what sort of, you don't have to give the exact figures because that's kind of trade knowledge, right? But at the same time, give us an idea on what
Right.
somebody wanted.
What if you're in your house, 5,000 will get you top shelf everything you need out of the door. My first thing I tell all the clients, please pay for the higher end equipment because it will cover your mistakes. The proper lighting will cover up for your calcium deficiency that your plant is not getting because you couldn't get back to it this weekend because you was busy on the jet ski. That good light will help you out. That thick AC Infinity tent that gives you no light leak helps you out. Opposed to you just ordering that stuff, not knocking the things that are on Amazon for $69 and this, that, and the third. But there's no way your $69 is going to put up what my $1,000 light is going to do to these plants. It's the reason why our plants look the way they do. We can control the climate. I can turn those plants all the way down to 60 degrees at night and turn them a whole different color in 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. That's how you get the purple is the lower temperatures, right?
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed.
So it sounds like back to Key's original question, starting this business, it's not only money, but it's also time, right?
It's more time than money because after your initial investment, if you set it up right, like by your second crop, we're talking 6 months. You're good. Like you're good as long as you're setting it up properly.
I want to drill down on the time aspect from a business side. So I travel a lot, and Mexico, I travel quite a bit to Mexico. And when we think about the tequila business, it starts with the agave plant. Well, if you're going to start a tequila company, equipment, all of that matters. But also what matters more is what you alluded to, time. Because to get a mature agave plant at a state where you can make tequila is 10 years. So technically, you started that. So from a profit perspective, from a business side, if we talk about a growth perspective, from a business side, you talked about investment in time. What is that maturity time for a plant before you can take it to market where it becomes now a potential profit opportunity?
We get paid quarterly. You're looking at 4 months for your harvest.
So very quick, actually, very quick plant. It grows up, gets big, and goes to sell relatively quickly versus agave plant takes 10 years to even grow. So in the end, marijuana, you're saying you can turn around potential profits in a 3-month, 4-month period.
But if you're doing it for serious, you have to remember you need to have the backup funds for that 4 months that you're not making anything. You got to think we work for months without getting anything. Every day you're cutting back your paycheck, like you're holding up your own paycheck. With every delay, there's a hold on pay.
Yeah, no, I think for entrepreneurs out there, one of the key learnings, what you're talking about is the time commitment. And, I think Key, Diane, and myself, we're learning that with the Now What podcast. There's a lot of time that you have to actually put. we can put money in hosting our website and hosting our podcast, but really to get the content, to put the work in, to get it out there, it requires a lot of time. And so I think for our listeners out there, if you're looking at starting a business, one of the things that Paul's talking about is, yeah, you need the money. And if you're going to do it for a business, don't go cheap. But also you're going to need your time to really do this. And so I think that's a key thing that you're saying. You kind of dedicated yourself. And I think when you talk about COVID gave a lot of people a lot of time. And so you kind of put your time into this business. And so, once the growth, one of my questions I have is, all right, you're in the growth side of the business. As we talked about earlier, there's a lot of sides of this business. When you talk about you only get paid quarterly, talk about that process. What happens now? The plant's mature. You're ready to actually make some profit. What's next?
Marketing. You have to have good marketing, because it's one thing to grow the best product on earth, but if nobody knows about it, like, we're not here to have baggies on the street. We're not nickel and diming. So you align yourself with dispensaries or high level growth stores, or you roll up your own products. We have pre-rolls now. So you do it that way. Pop-up shops until eventually you have your own dispensary. We have enough now where we can open up our own dispensary, but that's just a super huge payment that we're not ready for yet. But
no, that's a good piece you talked about. So as part of being in the marijuana business, you said you're not doing this with street baggies on the street. You're not a drug dealer. Let's make that clear for the listeners. This is not drug dealing. You're aligning yourself with legitimacy, and you kind of talked about that there.
As we wrap today's episode on entrepreneurship, we want to thank Paul for joining us. He's shared a lot of knowledge, and we are proud supporters of CCG 420 LLC. Paul is a true example of a Black-owned business owner who has mastered the concept of doing what you love and loving what you do. This is a podcast, a space where we give a platform to honor and share these voices and stories. If you like what you heard today, continue in on the conversation at nowwhatradio.com and support independent shows just like ours.